Daughter's drunk confession turned my world upside down, and current circumstances make it even worse. Not sure if this is the right place to post this since my situation is very different from others, but I am desperate. My wife and I have been together for 25 years but married for 19. We are high school sweethearts and have 2 amazing kids, a daughter and a son. I was honestly under the impression that we had a solid marriage, that our relationship wouldn't be like our friends and colleagues and we'd actually stand the test of time. Now I see how spectacularly naive and wrong I was. My wife has been a stay-at-home mom for most of our adult lives, something we both agreed, but after our kids went to college she began feeling restless empty nest syndrome, I guess. She would tell me she was feeling unfulfilled and felt like she had lost sense of who she was. I tried recommending hobbies we could do together, places we could visit, or even adopting puppies if that would help, and at first she was all for it, but soon began saying she wanted to feel like she was contributing and not simply coasting through life. I understood and was willing to support her. She never liked sitting still, so I kind of expected it. She complained to a few friends and one of them actually managed to get her an interview at a real estate firm she used to work in before having the kids, and I was just as excited as she was when she accepted. In the beginning things were going great, but after the first year I noticed some changes. She started going to drink-ups with co-workers, began texting a lot more than usual when at home and at odd hours at night. She even started wearing a particular type of perfume and would wear more suggestive clothing. Nothing too revealing or slutty, but clothing that complemented her body figure a lot more than usual. But what made me suspicious was when I accidentally saw a message from a male co-worker on her phone. Wasn't snooping, which seemed to be a highly inappropriate and flirtatious. I asked about it and I could tell she was slightly shaken, but assured me he was simply a friend and she would talk to him about his inappropriate messages. Me, not wanting to be the paranoid, jealous and controlling husband, chose to believe her and let it go. Oh, how I wish I didn't. Her behavior got more strange as time went on. She started mentioning how she wanted to be more spontaneous with life and even picked up smoking weed. I made jokes about how she seemed to be living the same college lifestyle as our kids and suggested she slow down, but she dropped an absolute boom when she mentioned in a drunken state after another night of going out that maybe I dim her lights and hold her back. I was completely blindsided by this and really believed I was messing up somehow, so I tried to do everything to improve the marriage, even booked counseling, but it went nowhere. Then out of the blue that strange behavior stopped. My wife apologized for the way she had acted. She said it was like she forgot who she was but realized what she had at home and knew she didn't want to lose it. She resigned from her job and we began MC. It was tough initially, but things improved immensely, and for the 2 years our marriage was better than ever. She was more attentive, she initiated intimacy more and would shower me with affection. The only problem is that her relationship with our daughter seemed to be in a nosedive. I would question my wife about it, but she would tell me it was a growing phase or a woman thing, and once again I would take her word for it. Funny thing is, during this period my relationship with my daughter improved. She would call a lot more, meet me for coffee or lunch often during the week, and even bought me gifts, t-shirts and stuff. I always told her it wasn't necessary, but she insisted, and I could always tell she wanted to say something but would hold her tongue. Tragedy struck one evening as my wife was returning from doing groceries and she was hit by a drunk driver. She unfortunately lost the use of legs and has been wheelchair bound ever since. Things got really bad and she would make suggestions about me sleeping with other women, to which I obviously refused. I just choked it up to her depression and reminded her that I was here to stay because I loved her more than our situation. This actually made her cry and ask me why I was so good to her, or what did she do to deserve me. Again I choked it up to depression and just tried to help her as best I can. Sometime later we went for our medical checkups. The doctor sat us down to inform us that they found a mass in my wife's throat. It was of an unusual size, and because it may be cancerous they have to do a biopsy. My first reaction was shock, whereas my wife was just blank at first. Then she started laughing. It started small, then became hysterical as she began mumbling that this was her punishment. We managed to calm her down, but she requested that before the biopsy we could do a family dinner. I of course agreed, and we had our kids and immediate family over. I made a speech about how my wife was the light of my life and how we'd get through this, but at the end of my speech I noticed my daughter was rather uncomfortable. I thought that maybe it was because of what was going on that made her feel that way. The next evening my daughter phoned me drunk, begging me not to hate her. At first I was confused but reassure her that I would never hate her because she my little girl and I will always love her. At those words she goes on to tell me how she caught her mother cheating on me with a man she had never seen before. It was during my wife time at the real estate firm. My daughter gone on a road trip with some friends and decided to pass by a dinner they don't normally frequent to get a bit, and that's where she saw her mother lip locked with a man that nothing like me. Apparently this was why their relationship deteriorated and ours improved. I confronted my wife and to her credit she didn't deny it. Through tears she confirmed it was the co-worker from the messages and says it was the dumbest thing she has ever done. She said he was always coming on to her and eventually wore down her walls. She tells me getting caught by our daughter made her realize the gravity of what she was doing. She wanted to take it to the grave because she never wanted to hurt me and was too much of a coward to confess, so she begged our child not to tell me. I am absolutely shattered at the revelation and don't know what to do. I now question every aspect of our relationship and wonder where I went wrong. She tells me I was a good husband and that none of this is on me. The problem is since that time I haven't been loving towards her. I still take care of her, but it's more like a nurse does with a patient rather than a husband to his wife. If I leave her she will be completely stranded. She is dependent of me both financially and emotionally and it seems immensely unfair. Sorry if it seems all over the place but I am a mess right now. Update: daughter's drunk confession turned my world upside down and current circumstances make it even worse. Update: I messed up. Wow, had no idea so many people were willing to help both on the post and in the inbox. It really helps to know we're not alone. I did something I am not proud of. My wife has always been on my case to experience my true feelings and thoughts about her no matter how ugly or cruel they may be. Not long my first post in the afternoon as I prepared lunch for her like I always do, and just when I was about to leave her to her meal she suddenly grabbed my hand and once again begged me to say something to her. Anything, because it was killing her the way I've been treating her since our D-Day. At those words I just exploded. A lot came out of me. I told her that to me she was perfection, but since this happened she has become used in my eyes. I told her that the very sound of her voice used to make me want to give her the world, but now simply being around her makes me want to run and never look back. I told her that now she is like a dead weight around my neck that will never leave because it needs me to survive. I explained that through all this she is still somehow the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning and the last thing I think about when I go to sleep, but those thoughts are accompanied by a pain I never knew existed and it makes absolutely miserable because somehow I still need her. I still want to hold her in my arms, but each time I touch her I have mental movies of her with another man. But what eats at me the most is the fact that she dragged our daughter into this. She put our baby girl in an impossible position and expected life to go on like nothing happened. I pointed out that even despite her current circumstances her relationship with our daughter has hardly changed, and that is the fruit of her actions. My wife just sobbed softly through it all, and at the end she simply said she deserved all that was coming her way. She said she tried her hardest to atone the disgusting decision she made during that time and has never stopped seeking forgiveness from our daughter. She explains that seeing me in this state makes her feel like a murderer and she will do absolutely anything to help me heal and recover from this. She also added that she wanted me to know that even if I never forgive her and end up divorcing her she has and always will love only me, that she doesn't regret our life and marriage because it is more than she could have ever asked for. Apparently she can hardly look herself in the mirror because of who was looking back at her, and she never wanted to be that person. I can see she clearly hates herself for what she did, but I am torn about all this. I never knew it was possible to absolutely love someone and hate them at the same time. I have decided to book therapy for me and my wife because I have a lot I want to say to her, but am afraid I'll go too far, so speaking in a controlled environment will be best. I also have this overwhelming urge to speak with the man she was involved with. It may be useless after many years, but I feel like I need to for my own sanity's sake. I want to know who was the man that had the audacity to actually come between a husband and his wife. I believe I will ask for his information during the therapy session. Once again, thank you all so much. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, not much to offer other than you'll find no peace seeking that man out. Your wife was married to you, and she willingly cheated. If every wife slept with a man who hits on her, this place would be the most popular subreddit. He'll provide no answers to ease the pain. In fact, you'll experience the opposite. It's already been done. You know how you feel. If you want to stay with your wife, you'll need more than just an apology. I hope therapy helps, but it sounds like you'll carry the trauma from this for a long time. The affair was the start of something, not the end. Trying to heal will be just as hard as D-Day. I wish you the best. We all don't get second chances, but some of us will never want one. Redditor follow up. True, some men are just sleazeballs, and I think confrontation might go horribly wrong, assault and legal problems. But if this guy is married, his wife needs to know. Think about the choices he could have made for himself had he known before her accident. Redditor 2. Seeking the other man out will not go well and could end up with you getting arrested or hurt. Terrible idea. Either move on with her or without her. That's the only choice you have control over. Redditor follow up. Yup, I made this mistake. Luckily he ran, which was good, because I would have killed him. I ended up demolishing his brand new car, to the tune of $12,000. Add the fines after getting arrested and the ordeal cost me almost $16,000. In the end it changed nothing and gave me zero satisfaction or closure. It only made the situation worse. Redditor 3. My condolences, man. She doesn't regret our life and marriage because it is more than she could have ever asked for. Well, apparently that isn't true. She definitely asked for more. And, despite knowing how wrong it was, did it, repeatedly, anyway. Remember, she chose to cover it up and continue even after you stumbled on direct, unambiguous evidence. That didn't make her realize what was more important to her. That didn't make her regret that she was actively asking for more than your marriage. She knew her husband saw inappropriate messages. No problem. I'll tell him to stop. Phew, my husband believed me. Now where were we? I can see she clearly hates herself for what she did, but I am torn about all this. She waited until she was caught and could no longer control the information. She made a deal with your daughter to keep it away from you in exchange for stopping. How is this hating herself? This is about as self-centered as someone can get. My guess is that she really hates that she got caught, and now she hates the fact that she has to pay a price for being caught. Her price was self-inflicted and she only has to pay it because she got sloppy. In her mind she would have been fine taking this to the grave with her. And she wouldn't have stopped any time soon if she could have kept it going. The whole she realized what was important was only a thought process she was efforts to go down when your daughter found out. And, even then, she didn't come clean. She tried to bury it even then. Sorry, I have zero sympathy for her. Her accident doesn't change that. And her potential medical condition doesn't change that either. I'm just not buying any of the garbage about how much she hates herself because it sounds like she is the only person important to her. Her new reality takes her basically completely out of the relationship market. You're all she has left. Who wouldn't be sorry and regretful at that point? Remember, according to her, you dim her lights. Redditor follow up. Bring this to the top. This is a bitter pill to swallow, but it's the truth in all its ugliness. She only has you left. Of course she is sorry. Redditor 4. Bro, the other guy, forget about him. He was never committed to you. He was nothing to you and you were nothing to him. He didn't have time with your wife had time with him. Also, I wouldn't trust post-cheat remorse. You don't know how much of that is real. Ask yourself, are you really still in love? Will you ever be able to get the images of her and the other guy out of your mind? Do you really trust her to not cheat again? Redditor follow up. This might come as cruel, but given wife's circumstances, it doesn't look like she could cheat even if she wanted to. Redditor 5. Please don't be upset with yourself. Your anger is completely totally justified. Your wife seems to think that making it up to you means being a better wife without actually having to come clean about it. Some things to explore in therapy would be why she felt the need to not come clean and why she let your daughter bear the awful burden she did. As for what you need, has she completely come clean with the details of the affair? As in, it started with flirting for a month and it was physical for 3 months. We had time 10 times. Are those the types of details you need? Or is it just the fact that she was with another man that is enough for you to know? Think about what information you will need. And respectfully, your wife did nothing other than just try to be the wife she should have been all along. She didn't come clean. She didn't go to therapy to find out what led her to cheat. She didn't help your daughter. She robbed you of the information you needed to make a decision about your life. She has just thrown herself a non-stop pity party. Yes, the things she has been through with the accident and the potential tumor are terrible, but you need to make a choice independent of her condition. It's time to put yourself and your healing first. As someone else mentioned, she should have a settlement, or should be receiving a settlement, as a result of the accident. Ostensibly, that would be enough for her to obtain some assistance with her daily living activities. Redditor 6, I hope things get better. I can assure that you will find someone better. Everybody does. Your wife didn't tell you. Your daughter did. If your daughter had not told you, how long do you think your wife would have kept the secret? I hope you realize that you're a great man and you deserve the best.